We all dream of traveling through time, changing the past, witnessing the future, or maybe just fixing that one embarrassing moment. But is it really possible? Science fiction is filled with time machines and paradoxes. But what does real science say about time travel? Well, science has a lot to say about it. Time travel is a concept where we move forward or backward in time, just like we move through space. But unlike in the movies, science has some strict rules. Let's break it down. At the beginning of the 20th century, in 1905 to be exact, Albert Einstein fundamentally changed our understanding of time and space with his theory of relativity. While many believed that time was a constant linear progression, moving only forward at the same rate for everyone, Einstein proposed something different, that time is not fixed but rather flexible. According to his theory, an object with mass cannot reach the speed of light. In other words, the speed of light acts as a limit for massive objects. As an object with mass accelerates and approaches the speed of light, its mass increases. The faster it moves, the more energy is required to continue accelerating it. If it were to reach the speed of light, its mass would become infinite, and thus it would require an infinite amount of energy, something that is impossible for us to achieve. Now the question arises, what happens to time when an object with mass gets close to the speed of light? According to what we understand from Einstein, the faster an object travels, the slower time will flow for that object relative to an outside observer who perceives time passing normally. Meanwhile, the object in motion will perceive everything around it as moving in slow motion, and time will effectively stop for this object once it reaches the speed of light. This means that astronauts traveling in space actually age slightly slower than us on Earth. Imagine you're on a spaceship traveling close to the speed of light. While only a year passes for you, decades might pass on Earth. Congratulations, you just traveled to the future. However, time travel to the past would require exceeding the speed of light. And as we've established earlier, it is impossible for any object with mass to reach the speed of light, let alone surpass it. Even if we hypothetically imagine that traveling faster than light is possible, this could create serious problems, especially when it comes to changing the past and the resulting consequences for both the present and the future. One of the most famous problems is called the grandfather paradox, first discussed by French science fiction writer René Barjavel in 1943. This paradox asks, what happens if you go back in time and stop your grandfather from meeting your grandmother? If you succeed, the following would happen. First, your parents would never be born. Second, you would never be born. But if you were never born, then who went back in time to stop your grandfather and grandmother from meeting? This creates a strange situation. How can you exist and not exist at the same time? This paradox shows that changing the past could lead to confusing, self-contradictory events, which makes us question if it's even possible. This challenges the concept of free will and fate, and whether we as time travelers have the power and the ability to make independent choices to change the past with our choices, or is everything already set and unchangeable? It also raises deeper questions about causality, which is a fundamental part of physics. To try and solve these paradoxes, physicist Stephen Hawking came up with the chronology protection conjecture. This idea suggests that the laws of nature might have built-in rules that prevent time travel to the past, rules that stop paradoxes from happening. Hawking argued that time travel to the past is impossible because, if it were possible, we should already be seeing tourists from the future. To prove his point, he once even held a party for time travelers, announcing the event only after it had taken place. His reasoning was that if time travel were possible, future travelers would have heard about it and would have come. But, as expected, no one showed up, which, in his view, proved that time travel is impossible. Despite the challenges, scientists have explored some ideas that might make time travel possible. One such idea is the warp drive that was mentioned in various sci-fi novels, TV series, and movies. Based on the Alcubierre drive, it's actually rooted in a real theory by physicist Miguel Alcubierre. Imagine you're on a moving walkway in an airport. Normally, you walk at a certain speed, But if the walkway itself moves, you reach your destination faster without actually moving faster. A warp drive works in a similar way. Instead of moving a spaceship through space, it moves space itself, creating a bubble around the ship that carries it forward without violating the speed of light. It does this by compressing space in front of the ship and expanding it behind. But this would require a form of negative energy, which hasn't been discovered. Despite the intriguing theories and fascinating concepts we've explored, today's scientific understanding proves that time travel, especially to the past, is highly impossible based on the laws of physics as we know them. Even if we imagine hypothetical ideas like warp drives bypass these limitations, they require negative energy, a concept that has yet to be discovered and may never exist. More importantly, theories like the grandfather paradox raise logical contradictions when changing the past, further proving that time travel to the past would create unsolvable problems, which makes current physics remain firm in its stance. Time travel, especially to the past, is not possible. As physicist Stephen Hawking famously put it, the best proof that time travel is impossible is the simple fact that we haven't been visited by time travelers from the future. For now, it seems the idea of traveling through time will remain a captivating element of science fiction rather than a reality. Even though science has shown that physical time travel to the past is impossible, there's something intriguing we might have overlooked. We could already be time travelers in a more mental and subtle way. While we often dream of traveling back in time, we rarely notice that our minds are constantly jumping between the past and future. Every day, our brains are busy simulating memories and predicting events, essentially creating a personal time travel experience. Studies even show that when we recall past events or imagine the future or predicting what is going to happen, the same areas of the brain light up as if we're actively moving through time. This suggests that time, much like our thoughts, could be flexible and subjective, giving us the ability to explore different moments without physically traveling. In fact, our brains are already doing it, performing a form of mental time travel. And perhaps, by understanding this process, we can unlock the mysteries of real-time travel in the future. What's even more fascinating is how we're already seeing the past in our daily lives just by looking up at the stars. The light we see from distant stars takes years, decades, or even centuries to reach us. So, when we gaze at the night sky, we're actually looking back in time, seeing stars as they were long ago, not as they are now. In this way, the universe itself gives us a glimpse into the past, reminding us that time travel in some form is happening all around us, even if we don't always notice. As we explore the fascinating concept of time travel, it's worth asking ourselves, why do we focus so much on traveling back to the past to change things? Even if it were possible, isn't our past what shapes and defines who we are today? I used to think that if I had the chance to change my past, I could make my present life better. But looking back, I realized that my mistakes, struggles, and experiences have made me who I am now. Yes, I may regret some of the choices I've made, but in hindsight, those mistakes were the very lessons that helped me grow. They've taught me to be a better person, to evolve into someone more resilient and self-aware. Life, in its natural flow, is about living, falling, learning, and standing up to move forward, each experience shaping us into a better version of ourselves. So, while we might dream of revisiting the past, maybe we need to stop and appreciate the present moment. After all, our past experiences, both good and bad, have shaped us into who we are today. Moreover, isn't the real journey happening in the present as we move toward the future? Every day we're walking forward in time, one step at a time. We're already traveling to the future, whether we realize it or not. The real question is, what's the point of going back to the past when the future is what lies ahead of us? We have the power to shape our future, and by embracing that, we can continue evolving into the people we aspire to be. So maybe, in a way, we're all time travelers already, just not in the way we've always imagined. What do you guys think? Do you agree with that or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like the video, share, like, and subscribe for more. By the way, before we depart, if you had the possibility to visit the past or the future, what would you visit and why?